wellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives.
You're listening to A Quirky Journey, the healthy family podcast with your hosts Jo Whitten and Fouad Kassab. Hello everybody and welcome to A Quirky Journey for 2017. Woohoo! Hi Fouad.
Hey, hello. How you doing?
Good. Are you ready for this crazy new year?
No, not quite ready for it yet. I think there should be a gap here between like the end of a year and a new year. Like there should be a year off for everyone.
I think that's a really good idea. And you can just have a complete veg out year.
Yes, but we don't give it a number. Like we don't. So what we do is
you don't actually
say,
get a year older.
No. It's just 65 days, and let's make it 356 this one, so it's not too long. And then what we end up doing is we just like no one records anything. We cancel money. We cancel like everything just keeps going as it is, but it's just stress free for everyone. And then 2017 comes in, and then we can sort of go, I'm ready for it.
That's right.
Otherwise, I don't think anyone's going to be ready for it.
No,
This
I don't think so.
Wow. 2016 is a big year, Jo.
It's going to be a big year for us.
Yeah.
Yahoo! The book's coming out in March. Can't wait.
Oh, man. That's been like, when people say, like, you don't know what it's like to be pregnant, I'll be able to say, yes, I do.
You're having a book, baby. Hopefully it won't need as many sleepless nights.
It's fine.
But we're having like a couple of months where we're keeping it very quiet in preparation for March, aren't we?
Yeah.
Trying to.
Well, just keep you guys updated. We've sent the book in for printing. It's about to get on the line, basically, to start printing within a few days.
Yeah.
Get pressed, and I've had some proofs sent over. They're not in the full beautiful bound book yet, but it looks fantastic as it does now even, and the feedback from the people that we've shown has been extremely positive. Everyone who's seen it has loved it. We've shared a few recipes around, and the feedback's been great as well. We've had a lot of people saying like it's been very hard for them to find a book that's so much in line with their way of eating and doesn't include any of the rubbish that's usually in some cookbooks or isn't prohibitive or difficult to make as in other cookbooks that try to be healthy. So this one, because we've done the recipes based on the stuff that we cook at home, I think that's you guys are gonna love it. So really, really cool.
One thing we always hear at classes is that people who are trying to eat healthy want the food to be just basic ingredients that they can get at a grocery store or at the markets, or I've had people email me and say, are you sure that the ingredients are going to be easy to find? Because I live in a country town. I'm like, hey, I live in a town of 1,000 people and I can get the ingredients here. You'll be fine. So probably the only one that's a bit difficult to find might be pomegranate molasses, but that's a pretty, it's only used like once or twice.
Yeah, you can use balsamic vinegar or something like that. It's not like one of those ingredients that you just can't use.
It doesn't have lots of weird ingredients, so I think that people find that quite comforting. But this food is still amazing.
That's right. Yeah, yes. But we can take a cauliflower and turn it into 1,000 different dishes. That's just a reference to this article that I was reading about the 2017 food trends. Jo.
Oh yeah, come on, let's talk about food trends for this year.
Ah, fantastic! Yeah, so every year that comes, people are going to start talking about what's going to be trendy for the year, and there's this website called eater.com that had sort of put together all the food trends from all the websites that have predicted something. So it has something like 87 or how much is it? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 81 food trends predicted for 2017. So I was reading through it and I thought, that would be cool. Or other stuff that, I thought they were already food trends, but I thought it would be fun to have a chat
So tell us what it says about cauliflower.
Oh, it says it's going to be a food trend, you know.
Our book is going to be so trendy then.
Yeah,
no,
exactly right.
Don't worry, it's not all cauliflower. But I have to laugh because those of us who eat this way have been eating cauliflower rice and cauliflower mash and cauliflower pizza for a while now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what else? What else have we been making with cauliflower? Some people have made sweet things with it too. I'm trying to think.
Yes.
I haven't.
I've made a bread with cauliflower, which I've
me
sort
too.
of eat. Yeah, like, it's so good. But it's good, like, and then I pan fry it. What I did, like, this was me, like, really trying to have a bit of a treat. So I had, like, this cauliflower dough, and I put in, like, coconut sugar, and I fried the whole thing in butter. And then it was just like it's like kind of fried bread, but
was it
sweet.
good?
And yeah, and had cinnamon in it. Oh my god!
What else is in there besides cauliflower?
It's basically my my potato bread recipe, Joe, which will be in the book.
Yep.
But instead of potatoes, I've used cauliflower, and which worked really well. I was pretty happy because it sort of brings down the glycemic load and the starch content of the dish. It's not as great as potatoes, but surprisingly, you can't taste the cauliflower, and and just has that nice body, which is often lacking in gluten-free flours and breads. And wait till you get the full recipe.
That is pretty funny. Seeing that it's going to be a trend in the new year, as if it's not been already. But anyway.
Today defense, that website Eater has a photo of 3 different types of cauliflower, like a green one and a purple one and a white one. So I don't know whether they're saying that we're going to see more variety of cauliflower.
That would be nice. I love those different varieties.
Yeah, it would be like, how cool would it be, like, purple cauliflower rice.
That's right.
Pretty awesome. Which is another food trend, apparently. Purple food is going to be a food trend in 2017.
And we've already done that in the book too.
Yeah, purple sweet potato.
Woohoo.
And beetroot and purple cake. But like, purple is one of those things that people quite often take as a sign of the food being very high in antioxidants. So some acai berry or whatever, like when you see something that's purple, you go, it's usually an indicator of high antioxidants. Which
we also have a purple power smoothie in the book.
That's right. And a purple hummus.
Yes, or it's more pink.
Colorblind.
You are colourblind, so it's pink, guys. It's not purple.
There's a good one, which is the first one actually is adaptogen supplements, which is this will be cool to see. But like from what I know about adaptogens, there's a couple of medicinal mushrooms called reishi and chaga, and these. Unfortunately, like, I've never seen a chaga grow in Australia. They grow on birch trees in Europe and North America, and the way they've got this incredible ability, like they upregulate your immune system in a way, like, so if it's hyperactive, it brings it down, and if it's quite low, it brings it up. It sort of regulates the immune system, so it creates this. It has a really beautiful leveling effect on your body, rather than, like, quite often, like, let's say ephedra, which is an illegal plant in Australia. It was made illegal back in the day, but herbalists and nutritionists around Australia used to use that all the time before it was made illegal to help people. And, like, it gave you, like, a lot of energy, and because it had one way of acting. It brought you up, it helped you feel. But those of us who have, like, a hyperactive immune system, you can't use something like that will work on your immune system in that way. You want to bring it down, but so you'd go with different herbal supplements, but with this one, it just works both ways, which is really amazing. Yeah.
Is that like the mushroom powder that you take, like, from a naturopath? Like, I know I have some that when I was really sick, my naturopath got me to take for, like, colds and things once.
Yeah, well,
is that the same kind of thing or different?
Well, it depends on what the mushroom is.
Okay.
But probably wouldn't be, because from what I know about these things, I've looked into this. Which I like mushrooms a lot, because there's so much to be discovered yet about mushrooms, and they do the most amazing things. But I think for that to be an adaptogen, you have to do a double extraction, they call it. So the first one is you have to sort of put it in like a high proof alcohol for something like a month until it extracts a certain type of compounds from it. And then you have to take the woody bits again out of the alcohol, put it in water, and then boil it. And then that extracts a second type of compound that otherwise wouldn't be available. So the powder doesn't allow you access to all the compound.
Okay.
So it has to be that kind of form where it's activated. Yeah. And unfortunately, in Australia, I haven't seen chaga, and you can buy it off places like iHerb.com or whatever. And it comes in it's expensive, and it comes in small capsule form. And this is not really a sustainable supply for someone to be in Australia. So, you ideally want to be able to source these things yourselves. But I have seen a white reishi, which is like the Chinese call it, I think, the immortality mushroom or something like that. And that's, I've seen that in the wild in Australia.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a photo of that.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. So I don't know well enough to tell you about it, like where to find it, but that would be cool if we can start seeing an industry in Australia about this stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Joe, go next one. Which one?
Oh, I haven't actually got it open, sorry.
What? Okay. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
All right. So one thing here, it's saying that beef is going to be a food trend, and brisket, which is cool because I made a 3-day cooked brisket over the new year, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And brisket is one of those secondary cuts that doesn't really cost much, and it's funny because butchers tell you that it's all about demand and supply, really, because something like pork belly maybe 10 years ago no one was buying it, and it was so cheap, and now pork belly is something like $30 a kilo or something.
I have a story about that, but go on about brisket first, because I'm interested in brisket because my parents being from Texas, it's very much a big thing in Texas, the barbecue brisket. How did you make your 3-day brisket? Okay, so
I did 2 types. I did one that was sous vide, so it was cooked in a sous vide machine. I have a machine called the Innova, which I used to use at the restaurant, and it can keep things at a very steady temperature. So I chose it at 55 degrees, and I cooked that at 55 degrees for 3 days, and then I cooked it in the barbecue. And then I have the other bit that I found a massive brisket at a friend's. I cooked it at a friend's barbecue, but I found this massive brisket at Feather and Bone, which is an incredible butcher in Sydney. They sourced it was something like a 6-week dry aged grass-fed Wagyu beef brisket, and it was really affordable.
That's amazing.
And I couldn't believe it. And it had all this beautiful fat and marbling, which is exactly what I want when I buy meat. And that, we cooked it for around 8 hours in this, he has a massive smoker. It's one of the ones that you see, people will open restaurants with. And we had that in the smoker with a few other things as well. And that cooked for hours and hours. And fully smoked. Brisket. It was incredible.
That was good.
Yeah. So, and I just ate that with a little bit of lemon because it's quite fatty. It needs something. Yeah. When you have a lot of fat and smoke, you need a little bit of lemon with it. So that was really good. Yeah.
I popped into my local butcher's today, and we have a new. They've been working on it for a while, but we have local grass-fed organic beef now here, and it's just they've only been going for a few months, and it's the most amazing beef. And every time I go into the butcher's, he's so excited about it. He's like, come into the cold room, come and have a look. I'm like, you showed me last time. He's going, yeah, but you've got to look at this lot. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not a butcher. I don't know what to look for. And he's going, see, look at this. Look at the marbling. Look at this. I'm like, that's great.
Well, that's your opportunity to learn.
That's right. He was so excited today. He had to show me. But it's if anyone lives up on the Atherton Tablelands in Far North Queensland, you've got to get John Bull Farming beef from the Lander Butchers. It's the best. So I've already been through a quarter of, well, I did share it around and I had a lot of visitors.
Quarter of a what?
Of a beast.
No.
That was over a few months, but yeah, I did share it with a friend. But it cuts down the cost so much. It's like $12 a kilo for organic grass-fed beef.
Awesome. I got some buffalo from my friend who lives up north from here, near Foster, and she grows these grass-fed buffalo, and she also does the most amazing buffalo cheese. And it's sensational when you get like a really well looked after animal, and
it makes all the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But talking about pork belly, I really think it should be on the list. I know it's already been a trend, but I just proved yesterday that it's still a trend.
So tell us.
We also have these amazing local pig farmers they have the free range pastured pigs, and their pork is just beautiful. And I got a pork belly from him, and I decided to. What I often do when we were on early gaps, what I would do is simmer them slowly until they were just completely soft and the fat just melts in your mouth, and I'd have a lot of veggies in there and stuff. And I thought I was in a rush, and I just chucked it in a pot, covered it in water, and left it to simmer for like 3 hours. And then it was still a few hours till dinner, and so I thought, I let it cool down and put it in the fridge in the broth. And then when it was like an hour or so away from dinner, I took it out and put it in a tray and chucked it in the oven. I covered the skin with olive oil and rubbed salt in, and it was already scored. And I put a little bit of the broth in the bottom of the tray to keep it moist, because the meat was just beautiful. It was really soft. And popped it in the oven and cooked it for about 45 minutes. And then I thought, this skin's just not, I don't really know what I'm doing with pork belly, because I'm so used to doing it the Gaps way. So I thought, well, I'm going to stick it in the frying pan skin side down and see what happens. And I put ghee in my big cast iron pan and just like seared it on the skin side in the ghee.
High heat? Low heat?
Yeah, pretty high heat.
Yeah.
And a good 10 minutes or so. And honestly, it turned out like glass. It was just amazing, really crackly. And the meat was so soft from being slow cooked. And then I had the pork broth left, which had simmered down, so it was really tasty. And I made cauliflower mash with the pork broth, with extra butter and garlic and leek, and it was so good. So now I have to recreate it, because I put a picture on Facebook and it went ballistic, and everyone wants the recipe. So I'm going to make it again and see if I can do it. Write it down.
Joe.
I'm going to have to eat it twice in 1 week. Come on, guys. So I had to go back to the butcher's today and get some more pork belly.
No.
But we've got a visitor coming, so I have an excuse to make it. So.
Well, I'm going to give it a shot the way that you do. I do it differently, but yours sounds like it would create a different result, like with the meat being that soft. So
yeah,
I'll give it a shot. I will report back.
Yes,
as
do.
well.
And you can help me develop it to perfection, the recipe, and then we'll get it up on the blog and share it.
Perfect. A lot of people worry about cooking pork skin. Like they think it needs to be really dry so that it crackles, but it's actually the opposite. Like you have to cook it first. You have to make it a little bit gelatinous before it does crackle.
Well, maybe that's the secret, because it was really gelatinous. It was beautiful. Yeah. I had to sneak a few bites before I cooked it, because I love it soft like that.
Yeah, it is delicious too. Delicious both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bit of a sweet maple glaze or something.
Oh, okay. We need to share ideas.
I'm not eating refined sugars at the moment.
No, neither am I.
Okay.
So
let's just eat the pork belly.
Yeah.
And keep it at that.
Well, the pork belly was my effort at helping myself to say, okay, no more sugar now. The Christmas period is over. Get back to savoury food. And keep the sugars and starches low. And so I was rewarding myself with pork belly.
Yeah, it's a good reward.
I think so.
Yes, it's like chocolate.
Yeah. Well, I think pork belly is the new chocolate.
Joe, you're right, but I think also it's not on that list because you're the trendsetter. You're the one who's going to...
That's what it is. Although I kind of think pork belly's already been a trend, so I probably just missed the boat and I'm only getting onto it late.
I think it's good. Yeah, it's, caught on now, and no one's going to be able to undo the pork belly trend. People know.
That's true.
Hey, Joe, what do you think about number 11, casual family dinners as a trend?
Oh, wow. We're so trendy.
Yeah.
That should be something, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Always.
What are family dinners if they're not casual? I don't understand. Yeah. All right. Well,
maybe some people have gourmet family dinners
every night, though.
Every night.
That
but
would
it's
be
not anyone that I know.
Yeah. Definitely not. Hey, but here's a good one. Charcuterie. And this is something that I'd love to see as well. Charcuterie is, prosciuttos and hams and salamis and things like that. And it's quite hard to find preservative-free and pastured charcuterie. So that would be a cool trend to see. Like if someone starts making these amazing meats that are just like, we've seen it bacon. Yeah,
I have seen some locally, again, from far north Queensland, and they had the chorizo sausage and they had the prosciutto. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Probably not.
Yeah, doing well. That's fine. It's all right.
But I can't find it now, so I hope it's not, disappeared. But it was so good. But the thing is that you can pay like $10 for one chorizo.
Yeah, well, it is expensive.
But you just, if you slice it thin and put it through a dish, it does make so much flavour that you can get away with one or two, in a big part. Yeah.
And for the first few days when you buy it, you can just smell it instead of eating it.
That's right. You can prolong the life of
it. It shouldn't be that expensive, I don't think. I mean, of course, the meat itself is expensive to buy, and then it's got all the time and labour that goes into it. But I still think they should be able to make it more affordable.
People doing it. That's what I think.
Yeah, use it. That's one good use of industrialization. Having machinery that will be able to process that stuff would be great. Rather than having to do it by hand and bring the cost up. But I don't know. That's just me dreaming of having unlimited amounts of, sulfate-free charcuterie. That would be cool.
It would be cool. Hey, how about savory yogurt? What do you reckon? Did you see that?
I did see something.
Trend for this year, hipster trend, savory yogurt. So it's got turmeric in it, vegetables. Let's see what else.
Is that what they say? You clicked on the link to see what they're saying? Yeah,
I'm checking what's in it. There's some that have, there's a picture here with a bowl that looks like like you have yogurt with like a smoothie bowl with all the pretty things, but it's savory and it's got avocado and stuff. Is that a bit like a Buddha bowl? Is that what they call it?
Yes, they do call it a Buddha bowl. Yes.
I call it in our house it's called a burger bowl because we stick a burger in it and all the avocado and tomatoes and, all the bits and pieces. And
I don't know why they call it like a Buddha bowl. Yeah. Oh, hey, cool. Hey, they've got a picture of Cook for Syria, which is...
Yeah.
That's
is that a good book?
My friend drew it.
Really?
She organized it. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a good book. It's a Cook for Syria recipe book. I think that's the one. But yeah, it is called the Buddha bowl. I'm not sure why.
Well, they're supposed to be trendy for the new year as well.
Yeah, I think they call Buddha bowls, but Buddha, from what I know, ate like a bowl of rice.
Yeah, I was thinking that, and probably vegetarian. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is a vegetarian thing.
Oh, okay. And that's why I don't call mine a Buddha bowl. Mine's a burger bowl.
Yeah.
Or a burrito bowl. Those are nice too.
Wasn't on a GAPS diet.
No, he wasn't.
He was doing.
He probably had a nice, healthy gut, so he didn't need the GAPS diet.
Yes, agreed, 100%. All right, that's what else? I've seen some few good ones. Hey, sorghum.
Yeah.
Have you used that before? That's a trend.
Yeah. In my first cookbook, there's sorghum in the gluten-free artisan bread, and it makes it so good. It's just a really lovely texture for gluten-free cooking.
What does it do?
You just use it like flour, but only a small amount in the whole blend.
Right.
I have to I'll have to look it up again what it actually does, but it is it's really good in a gluten-free blend. It just made the actual artisan bread recipe that I've got in my book is, it's kind of that chewy but soft kind of bread.
Does it give it like a bit of flexibility?
Yes, it does. Like you don't have that crumbly end result. Yeah.
Sure.
But it does have other things in there that help with that as well. It's a lovely flavour.
Yeah, it's. I think I've had it in like gluten-free flour mixes, but I've never had it on its own. Like, it's one of those things that I'd like to sort of just to try it on. I know it won't do anything, like, because you need some other stuff to bring it together and make it like gluten. But I made a gluten-free bread the other day, and I used.
It looks so amazing. Yeah. Has it got sorghum in it?
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create one that is completely nut-free. Mm-hmm. So I started off by using a store-bought gluten-free flour mix, and some other stuff as well in it that I know improve the texture of bread. Mm-hmm. And the one that I bought had sorghum in it. But yeah, I might give it a shot. I might just buy some sorghum and see what it does.
I'd be interested to cook it like a grain, like rice. They say that it's a lot like couscous, or like a bit bigger.
Let me see what it looks like. Well, what's the other one? There's an amaranth, I think. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've used that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely and tiny. That's really.
Yeah, it's good in. It's in like about a quarter of the flour mix in a bread, like a gluten-free bread can be. Something like that, because they're a higher protein grain, so you can't overdo it. Seed, not grain.
Okay. All right.
Ancient. Cool. They kind of call it a grain, don't they? But it's not really.
I don't know. It probably is.
It's a grass seed.
Grass seed. Yeah. But so is wheat.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
There's one that's
number 69. That's a good.
Yeah, I don't know anything about sous vide, so you can explain it.
Well, I want to talk about this because it's one of those things which I sort of I love it, but I also I'm worried about it at the same time. So I just want to bring it up because what sous vide is, it's a French word which means under pressure or on the void, or So what it does is you put your meat or vegetables in a vacuum bag. It's usually always made of plastic, food grade plastic, and you get the air out and you seal the bag, and then you put it in a water bath and you put a machine in that circulates the water at a certain temperature. And what you're after, with something like meat, there's different cuts of meat will cook at different temperatures, but you're after sort of breaking down all the collagen but without taking out the moisture that's in the meat.
Okay.
So then you retain this beautiful texture in the meat. It cooks through all the way at medium rare or medium or whatever it is that you like. But then you take it out of the bag and you can sear it to give it a bit more color. You could have seared it before you started.
Oh, okay.
And then basically you'll have the best steak you've ever had. It's just really great. But the problem is they do say that the plastic will leach estrogen into the food, and a lot of people who have sort of looked into this would say it's the temperatures are too low to really worry about, that the plastic isn't actually being heated up to such a high extent that it'll leach estrogen into the food. Of course, if the plastic has to be BPA free anyway. So if you're doing sous vide, you should have a BPA free plastic. But if you're worried about estrogen going into your bloodstream, there's something to worry about. So I've brought these silicone bags, which I'm going to test out. They're on their way, so I'll report back. And silicone is a natural material that is not toxic for us, so I'll hopefully see how it goes and I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah. The machine that I use is called Anova, ANOVA. I think they've got a New Year's special. I'm not affiliated with Anova in any way, but I really like the machine. You can use your phone to control it. It's got an app for it. Yeah, it's That's cool. Wi-Fi enabled. Really cool. Yeah.
That's very cool.
It's very, yeah, cool.
There's one here that I think is great. Flexitarian dieting. So basically, you know, people are starting to realize that, you know, sometimes you just have to tweak the diets and the food trends to suit your actual body.
Well,
starting to realize
that. Is like a vegetarian.
Yeah.
With the occasional meat. That's the official kind of definition. Okay, that's the official.
Because like they say, you know, for a while it's been really trendy to go full bore on one, you know, like paleo or vegetarian or vegan, and you can't stray off the path or you get beaten up by the others. And I just love that people are starting to realize, well, you know what, you use the parts of those diets that suit your body and, you know, work out what works. And it's not going to, like we've talked about this so many times, that for a while you might have to be really strict to heal, but then you can start to be more flexible, and you'll start to realize that at different seasons of life, different things will suit your body better. And, both of us have, you know, changed over the years with the way that we eat, and have sort of found different things that suit, and different seasons you change how you eat. Like you were talking about today with the mangoes. Do you want to mention that?
Yeah. So, I usually try to stay away from fruit because I still have a little bit of, you know, a problem controlling my blood sugar after years of being obese and insulin resistant. I find that I can go very easily on sugar binge cycles. Like the second I start eating sweet things, I'll start craving more, which is a mechanism I totally understand why it is in me. It's both, you know, at the microbiome level with the bacteria that I have, and also hormonal level with the insulin rising and going down and the blood sugar is fluctuating. So I try to stay away from it. But like over the past few years, I've been I love mango. Like for me, mango is sort of like the best fruit. Like if you have a really perfect mango, there's nothing better.
On a hot day.
Lainey walked into the kitchen and she saw me eating a mango. And she's like, "You're eating a mango?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm eating a mango." She's like, "You know, are you sure?" I'm like, I just want to have a mango. I'm like, they're in season now. I just want to have a mango. And she's like, no, it's fine. You know, just be careful. You know, like I know it impacts you. And she's right, because like it's not fun when you have that kind of blood sugar roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like for me, I consider myself, like, if you look at my diet, I'm not like paleo or anything like that. I just eat whole foods.
Yeah.
That's really something I never really veer away from. That's always like 99% of my diet is whole foods. Like,
and gluten
the only
free.
time, and 100% gluten free. But the gluten free is not because I'm against gluten. It's because I do have a sensitivity to it.
Very much
but
so.
the whole foods is the way I eat, not because I'm sensitive to the other stuff that's out there. It's just because I believe that the other stuff isn't really food. So, you know, if I could eat spelt, I would. Like, I would have. Why would I not? You know, like if it's been a food in our history for, you know, over 10,000 years. We've been eating wheat, and I wouldn't make it like the cornerstone of my diet, but I'd include it. I love sandwiches. I love burgers. So if I can have them, then that would be great. But I can't, unfortunately, and so I have to not eat that. And that's, you know, for every person out there, if you have a food sensitivity, you have to avoid that food. But really, at the cornerstone of my ideology around eating, and it is an ideology, unfortunately, these days, because you have to sort of make a conscious decision to eat whole foods, and that's how I'm eating now. Over the past 5 years, that's been my way of eating. It's food that is recognizable, that it's come from a natural source, something that I can just say, this is food. So in that sense, I find it really flexible within that realm, because I can have days which are just vegetables only, and other days where I can just, have more meat than I usually would, or more animal products like eggs and cheeses and things like that than I usually would. But it all evens out, and I eat seasonally, and I eat fresh food as much as I can. So I don't think that's a way that needs to sort of be taught to people as a diet. But it needs to be brought to people's attention, that this is a possible way of eating, and that the other ways of eating means that you're including non-food stuffs in your diet.
Yeah.
And once that clicks with people, then they're fine. I think they're good. Yeah. But of course, the healing requires
a stricter approach for a while.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and that's what we found, that once we got through that main, the 2 years of gaps, and we were able to start to bring in, we'd still have to be careful, but there's more flexibility now than we had even before we started gaps. Thankfully, now I had so much cheese over Christmas, I must admit. We just kept making cheese platters and those delicious buckwheat and almond crackers that a recipe in the cookbook that Fouad made. They're just amazing. And so we did have a lot of that, and I'll probably cut back a little bit again now that Christmas is over. Sweets, I had a lot more sweets than I usually would, even though they were naturally sweetened, with honey or dates or whatever. They still was a lot more than I usually would have, and I found myself getting very tired.
Yes.
And when I pull back from the sugars, I don't have that problem with my energy. So
yeah, I think that's one exception for like the whole food thing, is things that are like intensely sweet. Yes. Like when you have things that are intensely sweet, I think that's something you have to moderate. You have to.
Yeah, and I think this is, I know it took me a long time to really understand that, because I thought I was eating healthy as long as it was a natural sweetener. It didn't really matter how much it was. But now that I've pulled back from that, I really see the difference in my health. But yeah, I was just wanting to mention all that to say, we're not really pushing a certain diet, although I've done gaps and I swear by it for our family. It may not be right for you, or you may, and I think everybody who does it has to tweak it according to their own body. And that's the same with every diet, really. You just got to be aware that it might not be black and white. It probably won't be.
No, that's right. It's just an ongoing learning curve for all of us to understand our body and what we should work with. So, yeah, cool. I think we've covered a good amount of food trends, and I guess the takeaway for us here is for you guys to focus on creating your own food trends for the year that are in line with your health goals.
Yeah.
And I'm not one for setting concrete goals in my life. I like having flexibility and being driven through, my decision making being done on the spot rather than sort of over plan my life. But one of the things that is that I always plan for is I plan to be healthy all the time, because that's something that you carry with you forever in your body. Like while you have this body, you should always plan to be healthy.
And you do have to plan ahead with healthy eating. You can't just say last minute, okay, what are we going to have for dinner? I mean, I suppose you could have meat and salad, but
I think as long as your fridge is stocked.
Exactly. I think that's the problem. People sometimes don't plan enough when it comes to food, and then they end up buying the junk food because they're hungry. So I think it's good to have some kind of plan for food, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, have a plan for your food. Make sure that you understand how you eat, how you want to be eating this year. If I could influence you in any way, I will push you down the track of whole foods eating and get you to get rid of all the refined foods in your house. Get them out and just focus on whole foods. As much vegetables and meat as you can possibly have in the house, the better for you. And then the other stuff can go around it.
I had to laugh. Someone mentioned in the Gut Health Facebook group that they went away and did a house swap with some family over Christmas, and when they came home, their family was like, "You have nothing in your pantry." They opened their pantry. What they're going, why? There's rice, there's like dry beans. And they're like, no, there's like no tins and packets. You have no food in this house. And they're like, Actually, sometimes our kids say that, don't they?
Yeah.
There's no food. No.
Tins and packets though.
That's right. Yeah. There's nothing that you can just grab and eat straight out of a packet. You've got to actually make it. So,
the only thing I have in a tin, I think, in the house is some coconut cream that I just keep there in case I sort of need it quickly. Yeah. But I'm trying to make my own as often as I need it. Yeah. And the cans are there just in case. But like I don't really have anything in a can anymore.
That's good. My boys do keep a bit of tuna in the cupboard for when they go bushwalking and stuff. But,
that's a good food.
I did mention on Facebook the other day on the first breakfast of 2017, I took a photo of my breakfast and just randomly stuck it on Facebook because I was looking at it thinking, you know what, it seems like a really plain, boring breakfast, just, nothing really fancy. It was just scrambled eggs with I had leftover sausages in the fridge and I chopped them up, heated them in the frying pan and scrambled eggs through it with some ghee. And then I just chucked on top some herb butter out of the fridge and then on the plate was some sauerkraut and some fresh tomatoes. So that was like a really basic meal. But when I started thinking about it, I thought that really is kind of symbolic of my food goals for the new year. So do you want me can I just quickly say what they are?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, so simple, sustainable and nutritious. So, what can be simpler than scrambled eggs? The eggs were gathered from our friends' chooks up the road, so they're free-range chickens with, good feed. And another friend gave me the herbs out of her organic garden, and I made the herb butter out of that. The sausages are organic, grass-fed, local beef, the ones that I was talking about earlier. And then, so supporting local farmers was another goal. And so I'm doing that using the veggies, eggs, and beef and pork from local farmers. Reducing food waste. The sausages were left over from a New Year's Eve barbecue that we had the night before that I couldn't bear to see wasted, so I took them home and used them for breakfast. The herbs were starting to wilt in my fridge, and I thought I better do something with those. So my friend who was staying with me said herb butter, so we made a heap of herb butter and froze some.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and gave some away to my mum, who was very pleased. And then another goal is real food, not food-like substances. So that's like what you were saying. So no fake stuff, no pesticides as much as possible. The tomatoes were from my neighbour's garden, and she's just growing them organically. And then another goal is keeping it low in sugars and starches and a good balance of healthy fats, protein and carbs. And so that was all on my plate. A mixture of cooked, raw and fermented veggies on my plate at every meal if possible. So I had I didn't have any
carrots.
I didn't have any cooked veggies in there. I just had herbs. But
well, sausages are like a cooked vegetable, like the folks been on
eating
pasture.
Vegetables.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
But you get the idea. That I wanted to make sure that I'm not just eating only cooked vegetables. So also some raw and also some fermented.
Yeah.
And then
you failed me, Joe.
Oh, sorry. But this is symbolic. Okay. Yeah. And very importantly, my last goal, which I think we sometimes miss in our determination to get everything right, is that it would be delicious food made with love and eaten in a relaxed environment. So I think that's one thing that we need to remember, is that stress and food don't mix, and that can actually be worse for your health, stressing out all the time and not sitting down and relaxing while you eat and having food made with love. I think that can be detrimental to your health, even if you are eating good food.
Definitely. And I think another goal is to only allow yourself one photo of your food and then to go back just to your food and put your phone to
That's right.
and just
That's
enjoy
right.
the food.
And don't take a photo of everything you eat.
Not everything.
Because you start to drive your friends crazy. And your children. Mum, stop taking
really
photos.
Cool, that's really that's a wonderful place to be in your attitude towards food, and it's not something that's difficult to maintain.
No.
The food that you're making is delicious and easy to make, and you're buying it from local people. So it's not really very difficult if you think about it. And how good is it that you can get a plate of eggs that ticks all these boxes for you? You know, it's fantastic.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people say, well, I can't afford organic pesticide-free food. Really, just do the best you can. I know we can't always get organic everything, and I'm not perfect in that area, but it's a goal. It's what you're working towards. You're trying to have less pesticides and more naturally grown foods. So keep working towards it.
I would definitely in your people who say that, I would encourage you to at least buy your eggs free range.
That's important.
Because instead of having chicken that is factory farmed, buy lamb and beef instead of chicken. Buy the cheaper cuts of lamb and beef if you can. And then put them in a slow cooker or something, because lamb and beef in Australia actually have they have mostly been grass-fed, so we don't have to really worry about that in Australia as much as they do in the United States. But chicken and pork do have a really awful treatment in Australia, and if you're not buying, pasture, then you'll definitely be buying intensively raised, and it's best to sort of put your money with the lamb and the beef for that. And then with the vegetables, you can look at the Clean 15, which is a list of vegetables that are lower in pesticides. If they've been sprayed, they don't retain them as much, and they don't need as much spraying as the Dirty Dozen. So you can look up the Dirty Dozen vegetables and the Clean 15 vegetables on Google, and there's a list of them, and you'll be able to have better choices when you go and shop.
And my tip is also go to the local markets and get there early and find the suppliers that have pesticide-free or organic produce. It's quite often very affordable at markets. We get beautiful pesticide-free food up here, and we get it delivered to our door in our CSA box, and it's just so then you're ticking two boxes. You've got local, and it's very fresh, and it's pesticide-free. So. And it's not too expensive. We get a big box each week for $50, $55.
Your box is the best box I've ever seen.
That's true.
I've been in a few CSAs myself, and even the most expensive boxes are quite tiny. There's not much food in them. So big families will struggle to just go on one CSA box. You have to actually buy vegetables. I
still have to buy vegetables as well, because whatever's grown locally, we don't have things like carrots growing locally unless someone's growing them in their backyard. We don't have peas in the box and things like that are kind of staples of everyday food, so I do have to buy them at the grocery store. You get a fair bit in there, and it also makes you creative, which is another thing on my list for goals, is to always have something creative in each day. And I think cooking can be creative, or sometimes I'll draw, take photos. I think it's really important to have, that kind of thing in your day as well. It just makes
definitely. Awesome.
Good for your brain and your soul.
Fantastic. Cool, Joe. I think we'll leave it at that and say goodbye to the listeners. And it was great catching up with you.
Yes.
We'll start bringing guests back on the show for the next one. Looking forward to a really good list of people coming and visiting this year. If you have any recommendations to us, please also email help@quirkycooking.com.au with the details, and then we'll be able to get in touch with the people that you recommend if they fit in with the show. If there are any topics that you want us to cover, also let us know. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So we better let Fouad go because he's off camping, so you've got to go pack. Woohoo!
I've been waiting for this day for a year almost. I can't tell you. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Well, I hope you have fun.
Thank you. And if I don't come back, I love you guys.
You better come back. Hey, you got to come back by March at least.
It might be a lot of fun.
We'll come back for March because, the book. So
I'll come back for the book launch.
okay, good.
Awesome. All right, Jojo.
All right.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives. Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.